Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Aurobindaya. Om Anandamayi. Om Chaitanyamayi. Om Satyamayi. Om Parame. Savitri, Book 7, The Book of Yoga, Canto 6, Nirvana and the All-Negating Absolute. Page 546. Her consciousness looked on and took no part. All it upheld, in nothing had a share. There was no strong initiator will, and incoherence crossing a firm void slipped into an order of related chants. A pure perception was the only part that stood behind her action and her sight. If that retired, all objects would be extinct. A private universe would cease to be. The house she had built with bricks of thought and sense. In the beginning, after the birth of space. The seeing was identical with the seen. It knew without knowledge all that could be known. It saw impartially the world go by, but in the same supine, unmoving glance, saw, too, its abysmal unreality. It watched the figure of the cosmic game, but the thought and inner life in form seemed dead, abolished by her own collapse of thought, a hollow physical shell persisted still. All seemed a brilliant shadow of itself, a cosmic film of scenes and images, the enduring mass and outline of the hills was a design sketched on a silent mind and held to a tremulous false solidity by constant beats of visionary sight. The forest, with its emerald multitudes, clothed with its show of hues, vague empty space, a painting's colors hiding a surface void that flickered upon dissolution's edge. The blue heavens, an illusion of the eyes, roofed in the mind's illusion of a world. The men who walked beneath an unreal sky seemed mobile puppets out of cardboard cut and pushed by unseen hands across the soil, or moving pictures upon fancy's film. Page 547. There was no soul within, no power of life. The brain's vibrations that appear like thought. The nerve's brief answer to each contact's knock. The art's quiverings felt as joy and grief and love were twitchings of the body, their seeming self, that body forged from atoms and from gas, a manufactured lie of Maya's make. Its life a dream seen by the sleeping void. Its life a dream seen by the sleeping void. The animals lone or trooping through the glades fled like a passing vision of beauty and grace, imagined by some all-creating eye. Yet something was there behind the fading scene. Wherever she turned, at whatsoever she looked, it was perceived, yet hid from mind and sight. The one only real shut itself from space and stood aloof from the idea of time. Its truth escaped from shape and line and hue. All else grew unsubstantial, self-annulled. This only everlasting seemed untrue, yet nowhere dwelt. It was outside the hours. This only could justify the labor of sight, but sight could not define for it a form. This only could appease the unsatisfied ear, but hearing listened in vain for a missing sound. This answered not the sense, called not to mind. It met her as the uncaught, inaudible voice that speaks forever from the unknowable. It met her like an omnipresent point, pure of dimensions, unfixed, invisible. The single oneness of its multiplied beat, accentuating its sole eternity. It faced her as some vast knot's immensity, an endless no to all that seems to be, an endless yes to things ever unconceived, and all that is unimagined and unthought, an eternal zero or untotaled aught. Page 548. A spaceless and placeless infinite, yet eternity and infinity seemed but words vainly affixed by mind's incompetence to its stupendous lone reality. The world is but a spark burst from its light, all moments flashes from its timelessness, all objects glimmerings of the bodiless that disappear from mind when that is seen. It held as if a shield before its face, a consciousness that saw without a seer, the truth where knowledge is not, nor knower, nor known, the love enarmed of its own delight, in which the lover is not the beloved, bringing their personal passion into the vast. The force omnipotent in quietude, the bliss that none can ever hope to taste. It cancelled the convincing cheat of self, a truth in nothingness was its mighty clue. If all existence could renounce to be, and being take refuge in non-being's arms, and non-being could strike out its ethereal round, strike out its ciphered round, some luster of that reality might appear. A formless liberation came on her, once speckled, alive in brain and flesh. She had risen up from body, mind, and life. Once sepulchre alive in brain and flesh, she had risen up from body, mind, and life. She was no more a person in a world. She had escaped into infinity. What once had been herself had disappeared. There was no frame of things, no figure of soul, a refuge from the domain of sense, evading the necessity of thought, delivered from knowledge and from ignorance, and rescued from the true and the untrue. She shared the superconscient's high retreat beyond the self-born word, the new idea, the first bare solid ground of consciousness. Page 549. Beings were not there. Existence had no place. There was no temptation of the joy to be unutterably effaced, no one and null, a vanishing vestige like a violet trace, a faint record merely of a self now past. She was a point in the unknowable. Only some last annulment now remained, annihilation's vague, indefinable step. A memory of being still was there, and kept us separate from nothingness. She was in that, but still became not that. The shadow of herself, so close to naught, could be again self's point. Self's point, tie up you to live. Return out of the inconceivable and be what some mysterious vast might choose. could be again self's point d'appui to live, return out of the inconceivable, and be what some mysterious vast might choose, even as the unknowable decreed, she might be not or new become the all. Or if the omnipotent nihil took a shape, emerge as someone and redeem the world, even she might learn what the mystic cipher held. This seeming exit or closed end of all could be a blind tenebrous passage screened from sight, her state the eclipsing shell of a darkened sun on its secret way to the ineffable. Even now, her splendid being might flame back out of the silence and the nullity, a gleaming portion of the all-wonderful, a power of some all-affirming absolute, a shining mirror of the eternal truth, to show to the one in all its manifest face, to the souls of men their deep identity. Or she might wake into God's quietude beyond the cosmic day and cosmic night, and rest appeased in his white eternity. But this was now unreal or remote, or covered in the mystic, fathomless blank. Page 550. In infinite nothingness was the ultimate sign, or else the real was the unknowable. A lonely absolute negated all. It effaced the ignorant world from its solitude and drowned the soul in its everlasting peace. End of Canto 6. Canto 7. The discovery of the cosmic spirit and the cosmic consciousness. In the little hermitage in the forest's heart, in the sunlight and the moonlight and the dark, the daily human life went plodding on, even as before with its small unchanging works and its spare outward body of routine, and happy quiet of ascetic peace. The old beauty smiled of the terrestrial scene. She too was her old gracious self to men. The ancient mother clutched her child to her breast, pressing her close in her environing arms, as if earth, ever the same, could forever keep the living spirit and body in her clasp, as if death were not there, nor end, nor change, accustomed only to read outward signs. None saw aught new in her, none divined her state. They saw a person where was only God's vast, a still being or a mighty nothingness. To all she was the same perfect Savitri, a greatness and a sweetness and a light poured out from her upon a little world. Life showed to all the same familiar face. Her acts followed the old unaltered round. She spoke the words that she was wont to speak, and did the things that she had always done. Her eyes looked out on earth's unchanging face. Around her soul's muteness, all moved as of old. Awakened consciousness watched from within, empty of all but bare reality. There was no will behind the word and act, no thought formed in her brain to guide the speech. Page 552. An impersonal emptiness walked and spoke in her, something perhaps unfelt, unseen, unknown, guarded the body for its future work, or nature moved in her old stream of force. Perhaps she bore, made conscious in her breast, the miraculous nihil, origin of our souls, and source and sum of the vast world's events, the womb and grave of thought, a cipher of God, a zero circle of being's totality. It used her speech and acted in her acts. It was beauty in her limbs, life in her breath. The original mystery wore a human face. Thus was she lost within to separate self. Her mortal ego perished in God's night. Only a body was left, the ego's shell, afloat mid-drift and foam of the world sea. A sea of dream watched by a motionless sense in a figure of unreal reality. An impersonal foresight could already see in the unthinking knowledge of the Spirit. Even now it seemed nigh done, inevitable. The individual die, the cosmos pass. These gone, the transcendental grew a myth. The Holy Ghost without the Father and Son, or a substratum of what once had been, being that never willed to bear a world, restored to its original loneliness, impassive, soul, silent, intangible. Yet all was not extinct in this deep loss. The being travelled not towards nothingness. There was some high surpassing secrecy. And when she sat alone with Satyavan, her moveless mind with his, that searched and strove in the hush of the profound and intimate night, she turned to the face of a veiled, voiceless truth, hid in the dumb recesses of the heart. Page 553. Or waiting beyond the last peak climbed by thought, unseen itself, it sees the struggling world, and prompts our quest, but cares not to be found. Out of that distant vast came a reply, something unknown, unreached, inscrutable, sent down the message of its bodiless light, cast lightning flashes of a thought, not ours, crossing the immobile silence of her mind. In its might of irresponsible sovereignty, it seized on speech to give those flamings shape, made beat the heart of wisdom in a word, and spoke immortal things through mortal lips. Or listening to the sages of the woods, in question and in answer, broke from her high, strange revealings impossible to men. Something or someone secret and remote took hold of a body, for his mystic use. Her mouth was seized to channel ineffable truths. Knowledge unthinkable found an utterance. Astonished by a new enlightenment, invaded by a streak of the Absolute, they marveled at her, for she seemed to know what they had only glimpsed at times afar. These thoughts were formed not in her listening brain. A vacant heart was like a stringless harp, impassive. The body claimed not its own voice, but let the luminous greatness through it pass. A dual power at being's occult poles still acted, nameless and invisible. A divine emptiness was their instrument. Inconscient nature dealt with the world it had made, and using still the body's instruments, slipped through the conscious void she had become. The superconscient mystery through that void missioned its word to touch the thoughts of men. As yet, this great impersonal speech was rare. Prayer to Mother India. O our Mother, O soul of India, Mother who has never forsaken thy children, even in the days of darkest depression, even when they turned away from thy voice, served other masters, and denied thee. Now when they have arisen and the light is on, thy face in this dawn of thy liberation, in this great hour we salute thee. Guide us so that the horizon of freedom opening before us may be also a horizon of true greatness and of thy true life in the community of the nations. Guide us so that we may be always on the side of great ideals and show to men thy true visage as a leader in the ways of the Spirit and a friend and helper of all the peoples. Prayer to Sri Aurobindo. To thee who has been the material envelope of our Master, to thee our infinite gratitude. Before thee who hast done so much for us, who has worked, struggled, suffered, hoped, endured so much, before thee who has willed all, attempted all, prepared, achieved all for us, before thee we bow down and implore, that we may never forget, even for a moment, all we owe to Thee. Burning brazier, to be the divine love, love powerful, infinite, unfathomable in every activity, in all the worlds of being. It is for this I cry to Thee, O Lord, let me be consumed with this love divine, love powerful, infinite, unfathomable in every activity, in all the worlds of being. Transmute me into that burning brazier, so that all the atmosphere of earth may be purified with its flame. Oh, to be Thy love infinitely. ஸ்ரீ அரவிந்த அன்னையின் பாதார விந்தங்களில் இன்று ஒன்று கூடியிருக்கும் உங்களுடைய குழந்தைகளின் பிரார்த்தனையை உங்களின் பாதத்தில் சரணாகதம் செய்கின்றோம். ஆரோவில் என்னும் புண்ணிய பூமியிலிருந்து நாங்கள் தொடுக்கும் இந்த ஆர்வக் கனலை அன்னையை கேட்டருளுமாறு பிரார்த்திக்கிறோம். எங்களின் ஒவ்வொருவருடைய மனதிலும் ஒரு கொழுந்து விட்டெரியும் அனலாக தணலாக நீங்கள் எழுந்தருளி எங்களையும் எங்களை சுற்றியிருக்கும் சூழலையும் உங்களுடைய பொன் ஒளியினால் பாதுகாத்து எங்களை உங்களின் அரவணைப்பில் என்றும் வைத்திருக்குமாறு பிரார்த்திக்கிறோம். நன்றி அன்னையே. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for the Divine Mother and Sri Aurobindo and Mother, the Spirit of Aurobindo. Thank you.